Yeah, I got myself in a sticky situation here. The rear wheels dug in really bad. So 2 days ago I got stuck here at the Salton Sea in deep sand and mud. And that was quite an unexpected situation, as you can imagine. Right now I'm parked here on BLM land. I'm camping here for the last 2 nights. We'll be relocating later today. I'm next to the old naval station here in the Salton Sea area. And yeah, I was out scouting or looking at a potential campsite that was marked on iOverlander, which is an application or service where travelers share information about certain resources, including campsites. So I got to the marked campsite, was driving on sand, which seemed to be hard-packed at that time. Got to the campsite or potential campsite and realized this was not a good spot for me. I turned around, I drove back exactly the same way I came from, and that's where I got stuck. I missed my original line that I was driving in by a couple of feet on the way out, and it still looked like I was on good sand, but of course I wasn't, because I sank in and there was not much I could do in that moment. It took a lot of digging and the help of a stranger here from El Centro. I had posted to a certain Facebook group for off-road recovery, and the gentleman decided to come out. David, this is a plug for you, thank you so much. David came out and pulled me out. Until he arrived, I was digging like a maniac and just freed the axle and the rear diff from all the sand, so it was free. The spare tire was in the ground, so I dug around the spare tire and freed that up so that there was no more drag when David pulled me out. So I got out, and that night, of course, I felt rattled a little bit in my confidence. And it's like, okay, what did I do wrong, or which mistakes I made, and what could I have done better? And that's the purpose of today's video. So first of all, I just showed you some pictures and how it looked like. You can see the rear or the passenger side rear tire here, and it still has a lot of leftover markings from the mud. So this tire or this wheel was deep in this hole, yeah, I had to dig out pretty much, and then needed that tug to get out of those holes. But the situation really was cumbersome. I was alone. I had a good means of communication, so from that perspective I wasn't too concerned. 2 miles further from where I was camping, and it's probably not visible from here, but there's an old pier from the naval station. I had seen some people camping out there, and so I took Shelby, my dog, and we hiked the 2 miles, talked to those people and asked them if they would be able to help, and they said, we'll have to finish here some stuff, but we'll come over and we'll help. So Shelby and I hiked back, and on the way back I picked up a lot of driftwood that seemed promising to help. And I also found like a rubber pad, like one of those things that the large construction cones are standing on, and that looked like maybe something I could use to have additional traction. So I took that with me as well. So when I got back to the truck, I fed the dog, and then I started digging. So I have a decent amount of recovery gear. I have a small shovel, one of those folding shovels, and the shovel worked great. But that's the first thing I'm gonna improve on. I will add a second shovel to my rig, and I wanna say a regular garden shovel, because I had to go deep under the truck and get the sand out. And with the small shovel, that was quite challenging. I'm pretty sure I could have been working much more efficient with a larger shovel, or with a long garden shovel. So that's the first thing I will work on. When those two individuals arrived, they came with their Jeep Wrangler that they had, and we hooked up my kinetic recovery rope. So I have a kinetic recovery rope and a tow strap. And we hooked it up and tried it, and well, the Jeep was just too lightweight. It didn't do anything. So unfortunately, I had to let them go. When I posted this online later on in an off-road forum where I am a member of, one of the other guys said, well, you could have potentially used that Jeep as an anchor point and winch yourself out. And I thought about that, and that actually is a good point. Instead of trying to pull, to have the Jeep pull me out and just give me that tug that I needed to get out, I could have tried to pull myself out by using the Jeep as an anchor point for my winch. So that's something I will memorize forever. So the next time, that is definitely something on my mind. As I started digging and I had posted for help in this Facebook group that I mentioned before, people asked questions, of course, where I was, but also, have you aired down? And yes, the answer is I aired down, but in hindsight, not enough. So the normal tire pressure here for this heavy rig is between 75 and 80 psi in the rear and about 65, 70 in the front. I had aired down to about 40, 45-ish, probably closer to 45-ish than 40, and was under the assumption that I know is now wrong. I could have aired down, or I should have aired down significantly further. So some people online suggested even going down, oh, I went down to 5. And it's like, this is a very heavy rig with 12,000 pounds. I don't think that would work, bringing this type of weight down onto a 5 psi. But could have aired down to something more reasonable like 30 or 25 or maybe even 20, probably. So and that's something I will experiment with and see how far I can go. I don't necessarily want to have the tire pop beat and then I'm stuck there. So I want to have some help there in case that is the case. There is a way to get the tire back on, but I haven't done it, and I probably would appreciate the help from somebody in that situation. So I want to do more testing, but next time definitely I will not stay in the 40 area. I will definitely go down 35, 30 at least as a minimum, so that I feel just better when driving on loose sand or soft sand. So airing down I did, but just not enough. I have an air compressor with me, and it was really, I have this rig since September 30th. Today is Friday the 13th, and I haven't been in enough situation yet where I had to air down that far down. So learning experience, I missed that here, and yes, I should have aired down more, but hindsight is 2020. So that's my next learning. So the shovel, airing down, definitely two important parts. The other thing, since I started digging and looking at everything, I probably should have checked and be more analytical when I got stuck the first time. So if I would have spent a little more time and evaluate, okay, what is happening? I mean, I know, yes, I'm stuck, but how deep am I? I probably could have prevented my next type of recovery. So what I did was I have 2 recovery boards, and you can see the remaining lone member of that recovery board here, because I lost the other one. It got sucked or pushed into the mud really bad, and I couldn't recover it because I didn't even see it anymore. And the truck was probably standing on it and pushed it deep into the ground. So that is just a situation dumb. My previous rig, I had recovery boards, and they came with straps. And I didn't pay attention here with Rossmonster when I bought the rig. I'm pretty sure there are straps somewhere, but I completely forgot about those. Put not anything behind it or connect to it, so the recovery board disappeared. The second one I was able to retrieve after the final recovery. But the story that I'm trying to tell here is I want to add and go up to a total of 4 recovery boards. So these recovery boards for this type of heavy vehicle are good, but I think for a situation like this, having 4 recovery boards would definitely be an advantage. I will not always be in an area where I will have access to driftwood or anything necessarily that could help me to get traction under the tires on the way out. So I will upgrade to a total of 4 recovery boards, or maybe I start with 3 because I have to order a pair since you cannot buy them one at a time, but definitely more recovery boards. So that's my next plan of action. So the next thing that I did during the recovery was that I mentioned this rubber pad before from the construction cone that I found. So I started digging around the hitch and was able to create enough space here between the hitch and the ground to put the rubber pad into the ground, and then put my jack stand that I have. I have like this, one of these combo devices where you have a jack stand integrated jack. And I was able to put that between the hitch and the rubber pad, and then started pumping the jack. And first it pushed the rubber pad further into the ground, but then it was stable enough and it started lifting the truck up. So that removed some of the pressure from the vehicle onto the sand, and I'm pretty sure helped a lot to get out. What that did really was just lifting the bottom up so that I was dragging less in the sand, and definitely helped on the way out. How things would have played out if I would just kept digging and do these type of things, I potentially would have been able to drive out myself or pull myself out. But of course at that time I was happy to have help. I was digging for up to 5 hours, I think, before David arrived and pulled me out. But yeah, an additional step, and this was that somebody had mentioned online, and so I picked that up and implemented it right away, and it helped. I will not have that rubber pad all the time. It broke in the end, but it's all good. But what I have at home is I have really thick aluminum plates, and I will cut out a larger piece that I can use, like it goes in here like a shelf. So you can see here inside my storage boxes I have some shelves in here and here. So I will cut out a piece of aluminum the same size of the shelf bottom and just put that in so that I have it with me. So when I get stuck in soft sand, like here in the Salton Sea area, I can put the aluminum under the jack stand and have a little bit more ground that it potentially stands on. The aluminum will most likely bend and get damaged, but that's not the point. The point is that I have something that I can put onto soft ground and simply give me a better ability to lift the truck. And this should also be in handy if I have a flat tire on softer ground. So the jack stand has a fairly large footprint, so that's already very good. But I think if I take some aluminum with me, which is larger than the jack stand bottom plate, I will definitely have an advantage when it comes to those situations. So that's the next thing I learned, and I will implement here over the next few days or weeks so that I'm prepared better. What worked great during the recovery? So I had a kinetic rope, we used that. The bumper that I have has 2 tow points, and David, when he came out, said you have 2 points. We put a tow strap around here and had the kinetic rope connected to the tow strap, so that we were pulling on both sides of the vehicle and not just on one side. So I probably would have just connected the kinetic rope on one side and hoped for the best, but David had done this before, and so I appreciate his experience, and yeah, we got out, and it really didn't take much in the very end. So I think a combination of the digging and putting plywood and recovery boards underneath, it all worked, and then it really just didn't need that much when I got out of the misery. So why did this happen in the first place? Well, the Salton Sea area is a large sea or lake, man-made, between the years of 1905 and 1907. And it was significantly larger than what you see in the distance today. I went for a walk here with my dog Shelby yesterday, and you can see here there's like a wash in front of me. But when you look down, there are like shells. And they break easily into pieces here. There are shells on the ground, so there must have been water here before. And that partially led to the situation where, yes, there's softer ground under the sand, under the desert sand, and it's still wet. So where I got stuck, it was a little wet where the tire sank in, but there was nothing visible. And like I said, I was returning already, so I had driven this part of the trail before without any problems. And that's where I probably had or did not pay enough attention to where I was driving. I was more on the right side of the trail. I should have stuck to the middle of the trail like I did before. I didn't, and then hit that soft spot and went in. When David pulled me out, we pulled the truck out about one entire truck length, 1.5 truck lengths, and I was standing on solid ground. The first tug pulled out the right side, the left dug in just a little bit, so we pulled it a little further, but it didn't take much. When you get into those environments, or when I drive in those type of environments with a large body of water, I have to be more aware of where I'm going. It's not necessarily where you see loose sand and sand dunes. I mean, of course, those kind of work different, but here I got into the mud underneath, and that made for a very different situation because I had zero traction on the passenger rear tire and later on the driver's side rear tire as well, because both had enough mud that just created a slippery mess on top of the tread, and that was another problem. So as I share this knowledge online, people also throw in you should look into one of those self-recovery points or ground anchors. And those are foldable devices made out of steel, and they pretty much dig themselves into the ground and you can winch yourself out. I looked at some of those and I will post a picture here that you can see what I'm talking about. That is definitely something I will invest in. So I'll travel usually solo, and I will be in remote areas with nobody around. So I think having that extra recovery point or ground anchor with me definitely is a step that I should take to really be safe, because that's in the end what it comes down to. Yes, I have my home here, I can sleep, but and have usually food with me, but I need to just practice a little more caution from that perspective so that I don't get stuck, because there will not always be somebody around, or it can take a day or two before somebody comes out and can help me. So adding that recovery point is important. So that will be another step for me to prepare for these type of situations. And yes, I could over prepare, but just based on how I travel, I usually, like I said, travel solo, and I just have to plan differently. So what I'm preparing for myself is to have a checklist ready and just think about, okay, am I doing the right thing? Am I in a situation where maybe it's better to get the checklist out, something that I print out and potentially laminate, put it in the glove compartment, and really just be able in a situation where you're stressed out. So to pull out a checklist, especially when you're stressed, it can be very helpful to, okay, did I do this? Did I do that? Did I do this? Did I do that? And so on. So that's something I will prepare so that I know, okay, get stuck or feeling that the sand is soft, maybe air down a little more. Does the rear locker come into play in this situation or not? It didn't come into play in this situation, but not to just rush into a situation or trying to rush into a recovery, and just really take a deep breath, step back, analyze. So that's a very important part, and just think about what else does that truck have in capabilities that could come in helpful in such a situation. Yeah, so those are the main points from a learning experience regarding what happened. So I have mostly the right recovery gear with me. So that went really well. I was very happy about it. I dug myself out to a degree that it was much easier for me to get recovered. I knew I'm a member of this Facebook group for quite a while already, and follow along when they do recoveries, and I'm hoping to pay this forward or to be able to help down the road, and when somebody else gets stuck and makes a call and I'm in the area, that I can potentially help. I was here at Bombay Beach in the Salton Sea area. I helped to recover a van that got stuck. The surface over there was significantly different from here. So the van got stuck, and my recovery boards went to town, and we pulled them out. So just another truck that came by here with a boat, two people duck hunting. We just talked for 5-10 minutes. They actually saw my posting on Facebook as well on Wednesday night, but that was after, or when I was pretty much recovered. So they just got back, and I talked to the two, and he said, yeah, he almost just got stuck with his truck, and it was, I think, a 3500 Chevy, so another heavy-duty truck. And yeah, he got into an area where he felt comfortable and then almost got stuck. So this is a dangerous area from that perspective. The lighter your vehicle, the better you're off. I took my learnings away from this. I had a lot of stress on Wednesday. I got a good workout in by digging myself out to that level that I was able to be recovered. And yeah, I have some more investments to do for this vehicle. So from that perspective, I'm not mad, or it's like, yeah, I made a mistake. Maybe not necessarily a stupid mistake, but I made a mistake after all by not doing the best I could. So lesson learned, and next time will be better. So I'm looking forward to the next sand experience, hopefully not getting stuck, but maybe even able to pull somebody else out and pay it forward from that perspective. So that shall be it for this video. I really appreciate you watching. I would love to hear your comments. What else can I do better? What else can I do to prepare myself for these type of situations? And happy to read your comments and yeah, really learn from your experience. So I hope you liked this type of video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so as well. And then I would say I'll see you next time in my next video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye. There is some trace of rubbing here. So I don't know if this is from yesterday when the tire was pushed up. I mean, I've been in other areas where the suspension was flexing quite a bit, but I went under the truck today. Everything looks good. I haven't seen any damage when I drove last night, except for that the tires were having difficulties because there was still mud and everything all over the tread. That was really the only thing that felt different. Yeah.